Hi, welcome to Glow's Kindred Kitchen, and I'm Glow. Thank you for joining us today. And today I am going to be making a North Carolina lemon pie. And I have never made this before. I did see it on Cook's Country on PBS, and it looked very intriguing and delicious. And ever since then I've seen it in a few other cookbooks, but I'm going to use the Cook's Country recipe for today. And what prompted me to make this today is one of my co-workers, David. He had offered to smoke some ribs this weekend and bring some in for work on Monday to share with all of us. So we decided to do a potluck, and I'm going to make this pie for it. I think it'll pair very well with the barbecued ribs. And one of my other co-workers, Steve's wife, Susan, is making a pasta salad. So I'm really excited about that. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started and show you how to do this. It seems like a very simple recipe. One of the things that intrigued me about this recipe is it calls for a saltine crust. I've never had one, but I think it'll pair very well with the lemon. It'll probably give it, like a salty, yet sour, yet sweet. You know how salt and sugar go so well together? I think this is going to be delicious. So it calls for, the original recipe calls for 1.5 sleeves, a sleeve like this, of saltine crackers. And they're salted. So I went ahead and put in 1.5 sleeves, half of one of these, and then one full one in here. And it says to pulse it about 15 times. Okay, let's see what this looks like. So that's the consistency of it.
Looks good, Miss Glow.
Yeah. So I'm trying to decide here. I'm thinking I'm going to try and put the rest in. It might be too much, and if it is, then we'll just have to combine it, in 2 batches. So there's the other half sleeve. Here's the other. I only put, this is one full sleeve extra. There's the other half. We're going to start off with this though. Whoop. It's pretty full, isn't it?
Pretty full.
I think it'll be all right though. We're going to put the rest in. We're just trying something new here together.
Give it another 15.
Oh yeah, I think we're going to be okay. So now what it calls for is to, the original recipe says to do 10 tablespoons of melted butter. So since I'm doubling this, I have 20 tablespoons. So it's 1.25 cups of melted butter. So I'm going to go ahead and drizzle that in here. And see, by putting this in here, I think it's going to help it so that it'll be fine. We'll start off with that amount and with that the rest. I'm just going to pat it down. That way it goes down into the food processor because it was up at the top. Here's the rest of it. It smells good. That butter going with those saltines, smells really good. It also calls for 1/4 cup of light corn syrup. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1/2 because I'm doubling this. So the nice thing about using this measuring cup that has the butter in it, this Karo syrup should come out, the corn syrup should come out really nice out of the measuring cup. That's a little trick when you're using honey or any kind of syrup in a measuring cup. If you have butter or shortening in it, it'll slide out much easier. Oh yeah, look at that.
Perfect.
And I'm gonna take a spatula here, so I don't like wasting. Get all the rest out.
Not at today's prices.
Well, that's for sure. I'll just use that sleeve there to protect the counter. I think that's probably plenty. Oh yeah, look at that. Let me just take these crumbs off the lid so we don't make a big mess. But look at that. Doesn't that look good?
Looks good.
It smells delicious. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this in these pie crusts, or in these pie pans. And what the goal is you're gonna press this down into the pan, and then we're gonna bake it in the oven at 350 degrees for 17 to 19 minutes. You're supposed to bake it until it's golden and you smell that, like of a nutty flavor. So anyway, I'll be back with you in just a few minutes as I'm finishing up so you can see how I press it in. Well, I got the crusts in here, but I wanted to show you how I do this. When I put the bread, the cracker crumbs in here, what I do is I take the bottom and the side of a measuring cup. You could use a glass or whatever, but you want to press this all down in nicely. So it's kind of, I guess you would, if you will, it's compacted in there.
Well, how thick is the bottom of that, Miss Chloe? I can see the sides.
Yeah. I would say it's probably the same as the sides, really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
A good question.
Fine.
And it smells so buttery and salty. And the original recipe calls for unsalted butter. I didn't have it, but it said to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So when I doubled this, it would have been 1/4 of a teaspoon. But with the salt and the saltines and the salt and the butter, I decided not to do that, and I did sample it just to make sure, and it's very good. So anyway, now what we're going to do is we're going to bake these in the oven at 350 degrees for anywhere it was from 17 to 19 minutes. And I wanted to share also with you the blade that I used. This is the one that I used.
Very sharp.
Yep, it's very, very sharp. So when you're washing it, be extra careful. And also storing them always. Store them so nobody is going to get cut. I store mine in a little box. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven, and then I'll be right back, because guess what? We're going to do the filling together. See you back in a moment. Well, I've been busy trying to get everything together for the filling for this lemon pie, and I wanted to show you guys how to zest if you haven't done it, and I'll also show you how not to zest, because when I was zesting, I actually zested my knuckle, and yeah, it hurt. But so I stopped, got everything cleaned up, and we're ready to go. It calls for, the original recipe calls for 1 tablespoon. I'm doing 2 tablespoons of lemon zest, which equals 1/8 of a cup. So I just wanted to show you how to do it. You, of course, put your knuckles and your fingers down below like that. I had it closer up here, and I just, like this, and
Wasn't pretty.
So anyway, here we go. So it's just a light, you don't want to go down to the white pith. You want to just keep the yellow. If you don't have a little grater like this, by all means, if you find one, get it. They are great to have. And it's great for Parmesan cheese too. And then you just, this side of it is very smooth, so you would not hurt yourself. It's the other underside that is so sharp. So there we go. I have in here 1/8 of a cup or 2 tablespoons of lemon zest. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that right in here in my soapy water. And when you're doing anything with lemons, I'll tell you a little trick so you get more juice out of it. If you put it in your microwave, or if you put it on your stove in some hot water and let it cook for a little bit, it will become a lot juicier. And this is, see how soft that is? I put it in the microwave on power level 7 for about 40 seconds. And then what I do is I roll it on my chopping board, or you can do it on your counter, and then you cut it in half. See, oh, you can already see how the juice is coming out of it. See how juicy that is?
Pretty juicy, Miss Cologne.
Yeah, that's the trick. If you see the seeds like that, go ahead and just pull those out. I always keep like a little trash thing here for stuff like this.
Trash bucket.
Yep. Makes for easy cleanup. And then what I do is I take my lemon and put it on my reamer, or juicer, whatever you want to call it, and do that. See how that just cleans that right out? And that's because it's warm. So I'm going to do the next one.
Good job, Miss
There's
Cologne.
a few seeds here I already see. I'm going to go ahead and pull them out. Let's see how juicy that is. If you didn't warm that up, you wouldn't have all that juice. So for a cup of juice, it usually takes anywhere from 5 to 6 lemons. So, and I see some seeds here I'm going to just go ahead and pull out, and then I'm going to put it through a strainer as well. Because I don't particularly like to have seeds in my stuff. So here's my little strainer. Found this at a used place. And just do this and it goes through. I see 2 of the seeds right here. See? Just put those right in there.
Don't want those in the pie.
There's no other, so I'm going to go ahead and just do this, pour it in. That way you get a lot of the pulp. Of course, if you don't like the pulp, don't do that. But then I'm just going to pour that in. Now I'm going to have to do 1 more lemon. So I'll be back after I get that done because I need a total of 1 cup, and then I'll show you the next step. Well, we're back, and I wanted to show you also how to separate an egg. So hopefully this one will crack well. I had a couple of them that didn't want to crack right, and so it was difficult to separate. But what we're going to do, I'm going to move this so you guys can see. And luckily this one cracked here pretty good. So you just want to separate and do it slowly, you know, so that the egg cracks pretty even, and this one did. You just want to go back and forth and get the white away. And I almost lost that, didn't I? There we go. There's the yolk.
Separate the yolk from the white.
Yep, so let me wash my hands here.
Separation is the key.
Those eggs, for some reason, just didn't want to cooperate too well today, but that's all. It's all good.
Are those the cheap ones you got? Inexpensive ones? Maybe that's why.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Some days they seem to go really well, and other days they don't. It's just like when you're peeling boiled eggs. Most of the time they go well, but there are these few, especially if they're really fresh eggs, they won't crack, you know, come off the shelf very well. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this put aside because we don't need the whites for this. We just need the yolks. So the original recipe calls for 4. I'm doubling it, so I have 8 yolks in here. And to that, I'm going to be adding 2 cans of sweetened condensed milk.
Okay.
And it's thick. See how thick that is?
Pretty thick.
Yep. It kind of gets stuck on the bottom.
It's gonna say, is there a lump down there or what?
Yeah, but you don't want to waste any of that. I may need to get a spoon to get some of that out. I will. But let's go ahead and do the other one, and then I'll get that. So it calls for 1 can, but we're doubling, so it's 2 cans. So I'm going to get a spoon and get the rest of this out, and I'll be right back, and we'll see how it's kind of gotten stuck in the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. There's some.
Oh yeah.
Yep, so I'm going to go ahead and get a spoon so we can get all of that out because we don't want to waste, and I'll be right back. All right, so we got the 2 cans of the sweetened condensed milk in here along with the 8 yolks, and I had combined it. And you can see it's pretty thick. And then it calls for 1/4 cup of heavy cream, heavy whipping cream. And so it's going to be 1/2 cup that I'm putting in. And 1 cup of the lemon juice that we had squeezed. And 2 tablespoons of lemon zest that we zested. This, I gotta tell you, the kitchen smells awesome with this lemon. If you like lemon like we do, we can hardly wait to try this pie. And it calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon. Yeah, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So that's a very shy 1/8. And I'm gonna do 1 more because we're doubling. Here we go. We're just going to stir this up slowly. So I'm going to continue to stir this, and I'll be back, and we're going to pour it in the pie shells that just came out of the oven. Well, I got our filling all combined here. See how nicely that's combined? It smells really good. So here's our pie crust. I took them out just a little bit ago so I can actually touch the pan and not burn myself. But I'm going to go ahead and pour it in. Put it on this one. And my oven's still hot. It's probably about 340 degrees. I had turned it down because of the, pans being glass and stone. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and put them back in the oven to cook. It takes 15 to 17 minutes, and we'll be back. Hi, well, I just took the pies out of the oven. Don't they look delicious? So you're supposed to jiggle a little. See how that's jiggling around? But the edge, when I'm jiggling it, it's set, so you know it's done. And so what I need to do now is let these cool to room temperature, and then I'm to put them in the refrigerator to chill. And then on top of this, we're going to be making a whipped cream to go on top. So I'll see you back in a few hours, and we'll do the whipping cream and put that on. Hi, well, our pie has cooled completely and chilled, the same with this one over here. And so our next step is we're going to be making real whipping cream. So what I did is I took 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, and I actually measured it out and put it in my freezer so it'd be extra cold. And we're going to go ahead and put this in here. You want to use a mixer that has a whisk on it because we need to put air into this. And let's see if we can get as much out as possible. And to that, we're adding 4 teaspoons of granulated sugar, and I went ahead and measured that out. We're just going to go ahead and pour that right in. And 1 teaspoon of real vanilla. There we go. Let me just wipe up my little mess here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start this off on medium-low. I'm going to bring it up, and we're going to put this on medium-low. Whoops, it would help if I plugged it in.
That would help, Miss Chloe.
Yeah, it sure would. I never mess with my beaters until it's unplugged. So that's why I had it unplugged. So we're going to let this beat here for about a minute, and I'll be back. And once it starts to thicken up a little, and I'm going to turn it up on high for another minute to 3 minutes. But when I get ready to turn it on high, I'll come back to you guys and see what it looks like. Well, it's been about a minute, minute and a half, and see how it's starting to get foamy down in there?
Oh yeah.
Once you see it starting to get foamy, that's when we're going to turn this up to high. Now it's going to whip until the soft peaks that rise to the top. So I'll be back at that, at that time, and then we're going to go ahead and put the whipping cream on the pie. Hey, you guys, I just want you to look down in here. You can see how it's already starting to thicken up. It's not ready yet, but see how when you're just whipping that air in, how it starts to get nice and thick. And before long, we're going to have some nice soft peaks. So I just wanted you to see that.
We'll be back.
All right, let's take a look down in here. See how nice and fluffy that's gotten?
Oh yeah.
And some nice peaks. So we're going to go ahead and stop this. I think we're ready to go. We don't want butter.
True. True.
If you whip it too long, you're going to have butter. So I unplugged it. Taking my twist off. There we go. Let me just put this over here. Like that. So we have more room. Let's take a look at what we got. Look at that. Isn't that nice?
Looking good, Miss Chloe.
Yep. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to put this whipping cream on this pie. And using an offset spatula like this really does help. Getting an offset spatula for someone as a gift, it's a good idea. If someone you know likes to cook, they come in different sizes. Our youngest son, Maxime, he got this for me for Christmas one year. It was a great gift. So let's see. There we go. So now I just have to put the whipping cream on the one over here. Here, let me put it over here so you guys can see. There's a little bit more whipping cream in here. Let's get that out. go. And then I'll garnish this too with some lemon. This one I think is the one I'll take with me to work tomorrow, so I'm not going to put the lemon on until I get there tomorrow. But this one, I'll go ahead and do that. And I have to grate it though, the lemon peel. So I'll be back in just a little bit and I'll show you. Well, here we go. I got it decorated. What I did is I just grated some of the lemon peel, like, you know, just like we did when we put it in the pie. And then I took one slice and then I cut it in half and just put it on top. Simple. So anyway, we'll be trying this here in just a few minutes. I'll be right back. Well, we just cut this and look how beautiful that piece came out. So it's set up really nice. Look at that. Just slipped right out.
Came out clean, real clean.
Yep. I've been waiting to try this. I just got to say, this recipe is from the coast of North Carolina. And with that salty taste of the saltine crackers along with the sweet and sour lemon filling and with this whipped cream on top, I bet it's going to be awesome. Oh, that lemon. This is delicious. It kind of reminds me of a key lime pie, but it doesn't have quite the zing to it like a key lime pie does. It is just delicious. It's not icky sweet. You can taste the lemon in it, and that whipped cream really just tops it off. And I gotta tell you, that crust, it is delicious. I will definitely be making this again. I want to thank you guys for watching this. If you've enjoyed it and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our channel. We would really appreciate it. Give me a comment and a thumbs up. We'll talk to you later. Bye.